People have to wonder, where does Sunny Hostin get her opinions?
Yeah.
Like you said, and it's obviously from her husband. She has to tell her what to say on The View, because without it, she's got nothing up there. She's not very bright. But the problem with her is that she went full racist.
Sunny Hostin, one of the most controversial and outspoken personalities on The View, recently found herself embroiled in a scandal so rich with irony, it could have come straight from a satire. Known for her unapologetic stance on race reparations and identity politics, Sunny has made a career out of boldly addressing racial injustice. With her confident, often self-righteous tone, she's built an empire on the idea of moral superiority. So, when she appeared on PBS's Finding Your Roots, a show where celebrities trace their family histories, many expected her background to reflect the very same convictions she passionately champions. After all, for someone so vocal about racial justice, surely her own heritage would support her narrative, right? But what she uncovered left both her and the entire internet in utter disbelief. Turns out, the story that unfolded was nothing like what anyone, least of all Sunny, had anticipated.
Hostin. Sounds like a town. We're in sunny Hostin. She was on PBS's Finding Your Roots, a show dedicated to researching celebrity ancestry. For context, Sunny is a staunch supporter of reparations and has made a fortune spewing nonsense about white privilege and racial justice. Well, turns out she's not as oppressed as she claims she is. She's actually the descendant of slave owners from...
Before we dive into the shocking twist, don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe so you stay up to date with all the hottest Hollywood buzz. Sunny Hostin sat face-to-face with the esteemed genealogist Henry Louis Gates Jr., eager to uncover the secrets of her family's past. Little did she know, the revelation that was about to unfold would completely rock her world. As the family history was revealed, Sunny learned that her ancestors were not the struggling immigrants or oppressed communities she had imagined. Instead, they were slave owners. That's right, Sunny Hostin, the woman who had spent years advocating for reparations and speaking out against the painful legacy of slavery, discovered that her own bloodline was tied to the very system she had spent her life condemning. Her reaction? A blend of utter shock, profound awkwardness, and a moment of raw discomfort that left her speechless.
Wow. I'm a little bit in shock. I just always thought of myself as Puerto Rican, half Puerto Rican. I didn't think I was, my family was originally from Spain and slaveholders.
Yeah. So how are you feeling, my friend?
I think it's actually pretty interesting that my husband and I have shared roots.
Yeah.
So I do appreciate that. And I think it's great for our children to know this information. I guess it's a fact of life that this is how some people made their living, on the backs of...
She blinked, clearly struggling to absorb the revelation. "I didn't think my family was originally from Spain or slaveholders," she stuttered, the words seemingly foreign to her. For a split second, the room fell into an awkward silence, so thick you could almost hear the sound of time standing still. Sunny, ever the professional, quickly tried to salvage the moment. She muttered something about how this would be an interesting fact for her kids to learn, but let's be honest, the damage had already been done. And of course, it didn't take long for Greg Gutfeld from Fox News to dive in. If there were ever an award for irony, Greg just claimed it, launching into his segment with a punchline that cut straight through the tension. Sunny's ancestors were slave owners. That's like finding out a vegan secretly runs a barbecue joint. The audience erupted in laughter, and Greg didn't hesitate to peel back the layers of hypocrisy, making sure to drive his point home with razor-sharp commentary.
People have to wonder, where does Sunny Hostin get her opinions?
Yeah.
Like you said, and it's obviously from her husband. She has to tell her what to say on The View, because without it, she's got nothing up there. She's not very bright. But the problem with her is that she went full racist. She injected skin color into a fairly generic behavior seen in all spouses, regardless of skin color. People marry, they listen to each other, they have something in common with them, they share their political views. She just didn't want to upset her husband by saying her husband makes her do everything, and then she'd have to accuse him of being a racist. Because if he told her that this is what white women do, then he's a racist. You see?
Sunny has been quick to call out others for their past transgressions, but when it came to her own history, Greg didn't hesitate to point out a glaring double standard. He joked that the next time Sunny brings up race on The View, someone should remind her, at least we're not slave owner racists. However, Greg's remarks weren't all jokes. He also took aim at Sunny's troubling refusal to take accountability. Instead of offering an apology or reflecting on her family's past, she simply dismissed it as just a fact of life. The revelation quickly sparked a social media frenzy, with Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok buzzing with reactions. One tweet humorously stated, "Sunny Hostin finding out her family were slave owners is the plot twist of the year." Memes flooded in, with one of the most viral being a mock-up of Sunny holding a check with the caption, "Reparations. Let me write that check to myself real quick." Some of her supporters defended her, arguing that she shouldn't be held accountable for actions of her ancestors. But others weren't as lenient, calling out the hypocrisy. "It's not about blaming her for what her ancestors did," one commenter noted. "It's about the hypocrisy of calling out others while ignoring the skeletons in your own closet." Greg didn't stop with Sunny. He also took the opportunity to critique the larger issue of identity politics, suggesting that it often oversimplifies complex issues.
Quote, "a lens of empathy. Debate highlights ableism in politics. Pat Fetterman can do for disability what Obama did for race."
Say what?
See, because when all else fails, use identity politics. But MSNBC's Lawrence O'Donnell went a step further.
When you obsess over race, you risk losing sight of the individual, the context, and the subtleties that come with every situation, he explained. And in the end, it can all backfire, just like it did for Sunny. He stressed the need for personal accountability, pointing out that it's not about the deeds of your ancestors, but what you do in the present. For years, Sunny has been quick to lecture others, but maybe now it's time for her to take a hard look at herself. This entire incident raises crucial questions about how we approach historical responsibility. Should someone like Sunny, who often judges others for the actions of their forebears, be held to the same standard? Or is it enough to simply acknowledge the past without letting it define who you are today?
These elites are so isolated, they've forgotten that most Americans don't get paid to sit in a comfy chair pontificating about everything all day. Nope, some of us are cameramen whose names I don't know. But maybe one day when we finally strip away this phony race war, it will finally expose this elite mentality. And we'll find out Sunny is just like Marie Antoinette, except she says, "Let me eat."
Greg's panel had a field day with this one. One co-host joked, "If Sunny's been calling out the descendants of slave owners, does she now have to call out her own bloodline?" Another chimed in, pointing out how ironic it was that she was so wrapped up in identity politics, yet didn't even seem to know her own roots. While the internet had a blast at Sunny's expense, some people noted that this could have been a moment of growth for her. Instead of brushing it off casually, she could have turned this revelation into a deeper, more reflective conversation about history, identity, and the complexities of her family's past. Imagine if she had said, "I've discovered something surprising about my own heritage, and it's making me rethink how I approach these discussions." But instead, it was just a quick shrug and a swift change of subject. Even her co-hosts on The View appeared uncertain on how to respond. Whoopi Goldberg, known for her sharp wit, might have been holding back a jab, like, "Sunny, do you want me to grab you some coffee, or should we just ask your slave-owning ancestors for a refill?"
I make fun of The View a lot, but that's only because they keep talking. Those hens are always clucking. They get to say stupid stuff for an hour every day, and then I get to say stupid stuff for an hour every day, except on purpose. But every now and then, one of those dingbats inadvertently says something that reveals modern liberal thought so perfectly, it deserves further study. You know, like a weird serpent that washed up on the beach and you want to poke it with a stick.